Hello everyone, my name is Cap and welcome back to the channel, another 7 Days to Die video. I'm doing all this on Alpha 16.4 on the PC and it's utilizing the electricity stuff added in Alpha 16. So I don't know for sure if you have this on consoles yet or not. If you do, then this should work out for you. This was something that I had a user suggest, and more than one actually over the time, that they were wanting to try to figure out how to make an electrified fence like we've used before, you know, to kind of do some damage to the zombies. But of course you want to be able to walk through it yourself without getting electrocuted, because there's no reason to shock the hell out of yourself just trying to get in and out of your own yard. So they're wanting to know if there's a way to fix it. So that's what I'm going to show you guys how to do so far, because this is not really that complicated, but if you're trying to do a full perimeter fence, it can be a little bit tricky. So what I did to start was I just stacked up a couple frames here. Got a regular battery bank up here, just one single battery, putting out some power just for testing. Have motion cameras on two different sides here, the motion sensors. To a relay just to make it look nice. You don't have to use those. You can go straight from the camera to the electric fence. I just have it on the ground just to keep the cable management look a little bit better. And then I set one electric fence pole in the ground over here and one over here, and that way it's at trip height, and that way the crawlers and the smaller zombies, when they get damaged, they don't crawl right underneath it. This ensures that they at least get hit. Now, it's not going to kill the zombies. The electricity doesn't do that much damage, but it will at least do enough to slow them down and whatever. But one of the key things that you need to make sure you do with your motion sensor is unclick the target self up here, so it's great. It's no longer highlighted, and leave it just on zombies, or you can do target strangers too for when NPCs and stuff get added to the game. But that way, when it's on, you can see that you can walk right on through the fence and it won't do any damage to you. And also within this, once it has power, make sure you click in the camera preview window and you can move around where the camera is aiming. Now, of course, keep in mind that the cone of how far it can see is not very big, and that's where it runs into the secondary problem, is that you can't have one camera cover the entire yard. And if you had just a camera on this side, you would miss out on getting anything electrocuted on the other side. But where the other problem runs into is that you can't run more than one line to a fence at a time. So you can't have like 4 cameras going to a single set of relays and all of them point to the same fence and it'll electrify it every way. If you go through and you try and connect a different relay, see right now it's kind of run off that direction. If I try and say I'll just connect this relay to this fence as well so that both cameras work it disconnects the first relay. And so you can only do one line at a time here. It's an inconvenience, but it's just the way it works. So what I did to counteract this was I dug another hole over here, and then I dug one on the other side of this fence here. That way it crossed over the top. If you dig a hole on this side of it to create another fence, then you're going to have a hole this size in between the two poles where the zombies could possibly walk through. So yeah, it's ugly as sin to be able to have this, and of course they fall into this hole and bob around or whatever, but you know, you can use your aesthetics to do however you want to with it, but this way at least it crosses over. Now, something to keep in mind too when you're wiring things up in electricity, and I've mentioned this before, but I mentioned it again for people who didn't see those videos, is everything has to go in a straight line. So it goes from the battery to the camera, to the relay, to the electric fence, and then to the other fence here. If you try and go from here to there and then have the fence connecting, running here to there, it'll disconnect it. You see how the yellow lines and stuff follow a single path all the way around to it. That's how it has to go, or the electricity will not work. It'll cut itself off wherever the change in direction is. So what I did over here was I just set up this camera, doing the same thing over here. I have it pointed at this little area, have it set to zombies only, and then I have it run to this relay and to this fence and have it running this direction. So at least these two sides of the fence these two sides of the yard are actually covered. Now, like I said, if you're going to do this all the way around a big giant yard, of course you're going to have to do a lot more different kinds of systems there. If you have a gigantic yard, this is going to be a little bit more challenging. You probably have to have multiple cameras, multiple fences set up here just because of how narrow the cone is and the fact that you can't hook up more than one relay to the same fence. So unless you have just dozens of overlapping fences, it's a huge pain in the butt. But for the people that were asking me, how do you go about setting up the electric fences so that you can walk through them, but anytime a zombie walks through them, they'll get electrified? And that's how you do it. You make sure you use the relays and the cameras and set them only to zombies here, so that when they walk into it, they get a nice big jolt of electricity to the legs and at least do quite a bit of damage to them. Like I said, not going to kill them, but at least do enough damage to hurt them, make your life a little easier when it comes to doing some cleanup. So, like I said, this is the most basic version of this. If you're going to do a much bigger perimeter, you're going to have to do a little bit more complex system than that, but I just wanted to show how to get it to work so that it was a zombie-only fence. If you have any questions, drop in the comment section down below, and of course keep your suggestions coming and I'll add those to the list of things to do as well. Thank you guys so much for the support on the videos. And if you did find it useful and you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not already so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you guys so much for your time. You have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later.